Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a special No Holds Barred Royal Rumble edition of the podcast. I'm Bobby Melendez, joined by my tag team partner, Josh Kimmel. Josh, how you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good. Cannot wait to break down the 1994 well, as the recording said it, WWF Royal Rumble. Did you notice how they had to like speed up the second W so they don't get copywritten over there on the old Netflix? So we're here to break down that awesome. I was gonna say awesome pay-per-view. Had a blast watching it this morning. Watched it. I like to watch shows fresh day of show. I have a bunch of notes on it. I can't wait to get your perspective on it. 1994, man. I didn't watch wrestling back then at all. Not at all. I started in 97. So this was kind of shocking to me to see the state of wrestling in 1994. Like, of course, I've seen old matches and stuff, but it's been a while since I've watched a full pay-per-view. So you want to get right into it?
Yeah, man. This is a great idea because this is the month of January. The Royal Rumble is at the end of the month. So this was a great idea by Josh, giving him credit for it. You know, I told him because I've been following along with the Dolphins and staying on that and the Hurricanes in the championship on Monday. And so I was drawing a blank. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to think what we could cover because, we cover everything else. But man, and he's like, hey, why don't we he said, I'm spitballing 94 Royal Rumble. Why don't we go and watch that and kind of talk about it? I said, that's perfect. Let's do it. And I just finished it today. I watched all the other matches yesterday. I stopped at the Rumble last night. Watched it today. Had basketball. My daughter was in the choir practicing because she has mass tomorrow. So I was like, after that, I was home eating some French fries. Finished the Rumble. That was a lot of fun. And we're here to talk about the '94 Royal Rumble, which is crazy. Just to start it off. This is this brings me back because again, I always talk about this where when I was a kid. And I would go to my dad's. My parents were separated, and I was at my father's house. I go to Hollywood Video, go to my mother's. I was at Blockbuster, and these are the movies I would rent. I would watch these old shows and follow along, and so this was really cool. Kind of brought me back. But this era right here, what you're seeing is kind of the post Hulkamania era. Now they're starting to elevate Bret Hart and you see what's going on there and the Undertaker and Diesel and Shawn Michaels is starting to see that. We know that Shawn Michaels, we grew up with that Shawn Michaels. It was so cool to kind of see the difference. And I love listening to Gorilla Monsoon. Gorilla Monsoon was cool. We got to hear him and Jim Ross together. And I'm just going to say, there is no argument. Gorilla Monsoon, number one all day. When you hear him and Jim Ross, it's like, Jim, all respect, JR, shut the hell up because I want to hear Gorilla Monsoon. So let's just get into it, man. So first off, the show starts off with McMahon. McMahon and his, he's the commentator. Yep. Even though he's running the stuff, he's still the boss, but it's not Mr. McMahon. It's Vince McMahon. He's commentating, brings out the $1 Million Man who's about to go to WCW eventually around the corner there. What did you think of that? Listening to Vince McMahon and Ted DiBiase on commentary mainly through the night. What do you think of that?
First off, yeah, I want to also add they were in Providence. They were at the Providence Civic Center in Providence, Rhode Island. There was a total of 14,500 fans in attendance, and they were loud and rowdy. And they're not like the crowds of today. But yeah, seeing Vince open the show, talk about the big matches. There was a little video package before Vince was introduced, so. More on video packages later. They were what they were back then, but it was cool to see Vince play this role as just a lead commentator. And when he was introducing his co-host or his color commentator, oh, what? It's Ted. I guess we're gonna have Ted DiBiase tonight. Like he didn't even know. Like I'm sure that was character, but like that was pretty good to introduce Ted DiBiase. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be a fun night. I can't wait to hear Vince all night call matches. So I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, people forget really that McMahon, before he was Mr. He was, to me, again, I prefer Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan was gone by then. He was in WCW at that point. That's where it's 94. So I think Hogan was still doing Thunder in Paradise. However, people forget McMahon was a pretty damn good commentator. He was entertaining, and that's why he was always backstage. People always go, man, why is he always in the headset as the years went on? Because that's what he did. he was a commentator first with my Ventura and those guys. So that was pretty neat. But I'm glad that we did get to hear Gorilla Monsoon. We did get to hear JR. JR had jumped from WCW to WWF at that point, and that's before he became the cowboy guy. He didn't have a cowboy hat then. So that was very cool. Interesting, and you say bring up the crowd. I just want to bring that point up too. Man, it was so, how do I say that? What's the word for that? Not enlightening. It was so like it was cool to see fans just being fans, not just enjoying the show. There's no social media. There's no, I don't want to see this guy and that guy. It was just cheering and having a great time, rooting the good guys, hating on the bad guys. The same thing with the Rumble. That's one thing we'll talk about. That it was no music, and it's like it's not. They were still popping. They were still, when you saw the guy come out, they were going crazy. Yep. It's just different elements. We'll get into all that. The first match on the card, though, what's up, DSG? Old Vinny was way over the top on the headset. Yes, he was. Well, here we are. Damn well after that show, he didn't have a voice. But the first match on the card is Tatanka taking on Bam Bam Bigelow. Again, man, my goodness, two guys that you see me think of Tatanka. He had the look. He had the character. He was obviously the baby face in this one here. It was cool. I like, there was, you see a lot of these characters, especially in the Rumble, these randos guy comes out and you're kind of like, that's silly, dude. Look at what they're wearing. And, this was the cool part about characters. This was cool when you were allowed to, dress up and you could get behind a guy. He was really cool. And that was Tatanka. Tatanka was really cool. But Bam Bam Bigelow, one of my most favorite big men in professional wrestling. He could do it all, man. He made guys look like $1 million, and he had million matches. What did you think of this match, man?
Yeah, man, the match started out hot. Like, that's what we miss in today's era of wrestling. Started out hot. Crowd was into it. I'm thinking, oh boy, we got a prelim match. Like, the crowd's this is gonna be a boring match, but no, the fans were into it the entire time. Everyone did their signature moves. Bam Bam did a moonsault off the top. That was pretty nice. Although it did take a long time for it to happen. It still happened. Can't take that out. I couldn't do that. Tatanka had his nose. In 2026, when we all criticize people for no selling stuff, 1994 was the golden age of also no selling, forearms to the back and then pointing. Tatanka had to do that spot in this match. And it's funny how things just don't ever change, because no selling is a part of the hulking up portion of it. We don't look at it that way these days, but it was cool to see because I enjoyed it, because I missed that. I miss when a wrestler did that. So that was cool to see. In the end, though, it was just a match, but it was a fun match. I think it was more fun to see because we haven't seen these wrestlers wrestle in years. So that's why I think we had so much fun with it. If I was watching live in 94, I don't know, right? I don't know. So we do have that advantage that, we're watching to have fun. I mean, everyone watches the shows to have fun, but we're watching it to look back and have member berries and nostalgia.
No, you see, you bring a great point. Watching it to have fun. We're having fun watching it. But back then, that's what it was about. Fans were just being a fan. They were there to watch a show, to enjoy a show. Seeing a 300, 400, 500, whatever it was, you big dude, but doing a moonsault off the top was, nowadays it's nothing. Nowadays it's, here it goes again. And when a wrestler back then no-selled, it meant something. It was a no-sell, like, he's going to hype it up. Here he comes, hulking up, whatever. It meant something. Now a no-sell is, I'm going to do my finisher and you're going to jump up and you're going to be okay. But then the little tap on the shoulder is going to knock you out. Now, back then it meant something, and fans weren't worried about being the booker. They weren't worried about, why is this guy getting a chance on the Royal Rumble? Why is this guy up on the card? This should be that guy, Bob Holly. This should be Bart Gunn up on here. Why is Tatanka getting a spot? No, these were fans that were just there to enjoy a show. They enjoyed the characters, and these guys put on a show. And, if you sat down and you watched this as a fan and just sat back and leave your booker hat at the door, stop trying to be smart, outsmart everything, and sit down and just enjoy it, it was fun. And, it makes you miss, like, damn, dude, I wish Bam Bam didn't go so early. I wish, I really did enjoy Bam Bam Bigelow. I enjoyed his run later on. He had a run in ECW and WCW, and he was so damn talented. But it was a great way to start the show. It was a great way to start the pay-per-view. Loved hearing the WWF World Wrestling Federation. That was really cool. So yeah, it was a good way to start the show. And, again, it felt special. that was another thing too I'll say about this Royal Rumble, about old WWF pay-per-views. It's not like now, same kind of stage, same thing, whatever. It's a pretty basic stage, but McMahon, welcome to the Royal Rumble. It felt like this is important. What we're about to watch is a real deal thing here. Now it's just, welcome to the Royal Rumble. We're here in Saudi Arabia. It's Cody Rhodes again. And here's this one. Now it's like, no, it's Bam Bam Bigelow. And he's with Lucha Vaughn. I've heard of butchering her name, but who's freaking scary within herself. I loved it. I love the way it started out, my man.
Yeah. All right. So after that match, by the way, the finish was Tatanka top rope crossbody. 1, 2, 3. Gotta love the old days. Not many kickouts. Recap video after this of Bret Hart, Owen Hart, HBK. They just did a recap of Owen challenging Bret one-on-one. He was interviewed on a Raw or whatever it was back in the day. I don't even know where they were. I know they had because some were interviews from Survivor Series, whatever. So he challenged Bret Hart one-on-one. Later on, they just cut to another interview. Bret was interviewed by Vince going, "What are you going to do, Bret? Are you going to accept the challenge?" Bret gave his a lot of babyface promos in this thing. "Oh man, I don't back down from a challenge. I fight anybody, but I'm not going to step in the ring with my brother." And then they just cut straight to another promo of the brothers together. Owens, I'm not going to let my brother down. We're going to win the tag team championships from the Quebecers. I'm not going to let them down. I'm not the weak link. I'm not in the shadow. So they're giving you hyped up for this match. And then they give us a recap of 1, 2, 3 Kid and Marty Jannetty beating the Quebecers, only for the Quebecers to beat them again the next week. And I said this was sloppy, felt like high school television, but it was 1994. And then live current time, Bret Hart and Owen Hart are interviewed by the backstage guys, and Bret and Owen tell everyone this is their year. Owen is going to make Bret proud. And that's when I knew what was coming next. So we get the match. What do you think about this classic, not classic, but like the classic style of the tag team? It was more of this was a tag team match.
Yeah, that's one of the things that stood out to me, man. It was old school tag team wrestling when tag team wrestling was important. Like even the Quebecers was really cool to watch. They were methodically going after the knee. Seeing the Hart Foundation, or the early stages of the Hart Foundation, Owen Hart and Bret Hart together, two of the best in the ring. Fundamentally, and getting to see all that was really cool. That's old school wrestling now, tag team wrestling. That's the wrestling we would prefer tag team to be, before it evolved to what it is today. That's when it mattered. And again, the same thing with the first match, the second match, telling a story, selling, the Quebecers going after the knee, going after the leg, and Bret. And I will say again, Bret not going for the tag. He was open. He could have gone for that tag, and he decided to do the sharpshooter. And then it fell over again. And then the match was over. I'm telling you, Owen Hart, he wasn't the heel. It was Bret Hart. Bret Hart deserved everything that happened to him that day on that match, getting his butt kicked by his brother, getting his knee taken out. Like, I don't see Owen as what, Bret? Oh, what are you doing? What is he doing to his brother? Oh, he's shameful. Oh, what the hell are you talking about, Vince? Shut the hell up. The Ted DiBiase's right. His ass should have tagged him in, trying to be the hero, Bret. All about you, my man. And then we'll get into the Royal Rumble in a minute, but I loved it. I loved the story it was told. Yes, they were trying to play it off like Owen was the bad guy when really it was Bret. Bret was selfish. He should have tied his brother in. It wasn't about the titles at that point. Bret wanted to be the hero. So, I hate that well, no, that's not that one. The next one I'll talk about that, but this one here, I liked how it finished. I liked the rap. I love the heel turn, the classic real heel turn, and honestly, justifying Owen Hart. I think he was justified in what he did. Bret absolutely deserved to get his knee kicked in by his brother after that. Spoiled, rotten child.
So for those who have not watched this yet and
spoiler,
or kind of don't, well, we're gonna give them the results anyway, but just to lead up to this.
That's right, Maria.
They were tag. They did have chemistry. At one point, Owen had a tag Bret for a hot tag. Owen got a hot tag. Like, they both got hot tags. But at one point in the match, Bret got kicked out of the ring, and one of the bigger of the Quebecers, I don't know if that was Jacques or if that was Johnny Polo, was very prepared for this.
Raven.
I do have everyone's names.
That Raven is Johnny Polo. That's what's crazy.
So
Remember Raven? Quote to Raven Nevermore.
yeah, of course.
That's Johnny
Yeah.
Poland.
But I'm using their oh yeah, yep. I
I'm
didn't know
sorry.
that.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
There you go.
But I know that Jocks was the Mountie, apparently.
Yeah.
I know that with my research. But so they landed on Bret Hart's knee hard outside the ring, and they literally kicked his knee for, I counted, 3.5 straight minutes. It was I counted, Bobby. I rewounded and I went back. It was 3.5 minutes of them tagging in and out and kicking the knee. It was forever. And Owen was jumping in the ring. What's going on? What's going on? And all this time, like, but that was so good. That's why it was so good, because you had Owen playing the heart, you had Owen playing the part of the concerned brother and tag team partner, always checking on Bret. The referee always saying, go back to your ring. Like, it wasn't a lot of Bret gets tagged in, Johnny Polo gets tagged in, they do flips, they clap, they clip. Owen's on the hiding under the ring. The other guy's hiding under the ring, and it becomes just a singles match. And then one guy jumps off the ropes, and boom, then one guy rolls out. Then it's every person played their part, including the referee, not allowing tags, not allowing this. When the referee was doing something with Owen, Johnny Polo or Jocks would grab the rope and choke out Bret. Doing things that matter, and that's tag team wrestling is so bad in 2026, it's unwatchable. This was so easy for me to watch, and I'm not a fan of tag team wrestling. So well done with Bret and Owen, and even the Quebecers who don't get credit. They were doing great. Owen can't flip these guys, right? He's smaller than most of these people, Jocks. They made Owen look like $1 billion when he was doing his moves. I loved it. I loved everything about this match. I loved the end too. Owen, you should have tagged me. You should have tagged me. You wanted the spotlight, yelling at him in the middle of the ring, not helping his brother up whatsoever. He stands up. Bret finally gets to his feet. Owen kicks him in the knee one more time and leaves. That was it. Didn't need cinder blocks, didn't need chairs.
And he started attacking him out of nowhere, just got him in the knee and walked off. And then what I love too, that I thought about was really cool, is as soon as Owen was in the back, they have him and he's talking as Bret's being carried on to the back. So Bret's kind of like, oh, what? And Owen says this. He goes, I knew you were hurt. I know your knee's bad, man. I'm here for you. I was there for you. You're the selfish one that wanted to continue the match. You didn't tag me. And the thing, you listen to that, and he's supposed to be the bad guy, and you're like, he's right. He did it. So it just it just tells you how even back then the storytelling was so important, and it kind of blurs the line with, well, he's not entirely wrong. So just very cool. Yes, ESG, you're right. After 30 years, the spoilers expire.
And one last thing I'll add in this match, and then we'll move on to the Razor Ramon match. While the medical staff is checking in on Bret, the dweeb with the microphone decides to get in the ring. Hey, Bret, are you going to be okay for the Royal Rumble tonight? And medical staff is like pushing him off. Like, I don't know if he's going to be available for the Rumble tonight, guys. Stay tuned. Like, that was so.
They have to drive that home, man. They got to drive it home. Like, oh, he's not going to be able to compete. Here he comes, and they sold that pretty well, though. That's why he was great at what he did. Next match, which was really cool to see. Razor Ramon versus IRS for the Intercontinental Championship. IRS, if people are not familiar, is Bray Wyatt's dad, Bo Dallas's father, which was really cool. But man, I'll just say too, this was cool because you got Jim Ross and Gorilla Monsoon on the commentary. They take over at this point for whatever reason. They only did this match, but again, the kid in me got excited because I got to hear Gorilla Monsoon, and then I'm listening to both of them, and I'm like, Gorilla Monsoon all day, bro. But Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, unbelievable shape, superstar written all over him. I mean, back then you saw and the crowd loved him, and he was such a cool, he was like that, he could have been a great anti-hero type of guy, because the fans liked him as a babyface, but he obviously is really great as a heel. But I'm watching, I'm like, damn, dude. Obviously he had the rocket ship on his back. You could tell they were kind of pushing him up. He was the IC champion. He had a great story with Shawn Michaels. But this match wasn't bad, man. I really did enjoy this match, the physicality of it. IRS wasn't that bad at all. I mean, you may roll your eyes at the gimmick, but that's what it was back then. It was a gimmick infested pool of wrestlers back then. But he did it well, but I liked that it was physical. I'll let you, I'll just say this. The finish for me, I did not like. I thought it was kind of dumb. The referee's knocked out and, and then the referee wakes up after the hit in the head with the belt and 1, 2, 3. And he's like, no, don't ring the bell. No, he cheated. And then, and it's even though Razor did the smart thing, took advantage, did the Razor's edge and 1, 2, 3. I was like, the referee's knocked out. Referee made a pin. That's the call. The referee didn't see it. Why is Earl Hebner getting involved? That's the only thing I didn't like about it. Other than that, I did enjoy the match. I did enjoy seeing Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, in his prime, taking on IRS. And then you see Shawn Michaels involved with the fake Intercontinental Championship. What did you think of this match, man? Did you enjoy it? And what did you think of the finish?
So finish sucked. The run-in sucked. HBK came in, ran in, tried. It was just a mess at the end. But I'll say this. This was the match I was least looking forward to because of IRS. But this brought me back to simpler times. IRS didn't have to do much to get heat. I think the crowd was more hot for this match than the one before. 100% it was. And IRS got a ton of heat. Just simply putting Razor Ramon in a headlock and then using the leverage for that 2 seconds he did, and the crowd popped. And the crowd popped every time. It's as simple as that. As simple as that. He doesn't need a catchy theme song. He doesn't need to do 500 super kicks. He simply needed to show the fans that I'm a prick and I'm going to cheat every chance I can get. And fans did not like that. And he was mega over as a heel. Like, this was a good match for Razor Ramon to put him in there with a veteran who can work with him. Like, if you look at it that way, and IRS did everything a heel should have done. It's just the ending. The way the finish was terrible. The finish was awful. I wish it would have went down differently. But other than that, it was just a random match that didn't have a video package, so I didn't know the feud. Every other match had a video package, or at least attempted of one. So I didn't know what they were feuding over. So it's hard for me to get into those video packages. As bad as they were, at least told me why they were wrestling. This one, I didn't know why.
This one felt like a filler match. It was, really the story revolved around Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels and the 2 IC titles. I think this was just to kind of highlight that. And, obviously with the finish, it was, it continued that feud between the two guys. Like, Shawn's trying to screw over Razor, and Razor still came out on top. And eventually, I think this is WrestleMania 10 that's coming up, which would lead to Shawn versus Razor Ramon for that classic ladder match down in a couple months. So that's what it was. It really just was a stepping stool for that match that was coming up. But again, you're absolutely right. It was a filler match. Not really one that you would go, oh, I really want to watch this. This is one that you would probably want to skip, but we didn't skip it. And I'm glad I didn't. Again, I really did appreciate, seeing Razor Ramon, IRS, was very surprising to see. Like, man, it's like, damn, he really knows how to work the crowd. And again, the crowd just enjoyed the match. They weren't, infested with, why is it IRS? Why is it not so-and-so getting this match? Why is it Macho Man? Or why is it,
we weren't there, Bobby. We weren't there. We weren't there wasn't message boards. We weren't on the
I know.
Pen Pal.
They just sat down and enjoyed it, just enjoy the damn match. And, damn, he's using his feet on the ropes to choke him out. And he's really telling, Scott Hall, like, hey, okay, I got my feet up. Oh, and Scott Hall starts moving his legs like, oh, he's really getting me. And notice that as soon as his feet came off, Razor stopped. It was like such secrecy, it's just the simplest things now that people would go, boring. Back then, people were like, oh, he's choking him for real. It was refreshing for me. It was fun. Yep. I enjoyed it.
Yep.
The next match, my goodness, talk about wrestle. Was it is that WrestleMania 41? Is that the way that, am I thinking that, was that the last Cody Roman match was WrestleMania 41?
I believe so. Strap in, folks. This is going to be a long one. I think we're going to have a lot to say.
So first off, really love Yokozuna. The Undertaker, he hadn't hit his prime yet, but he's starting to get there. Yokozuna was great at selling the fear, being afraid, kind of like, and let me tell you, man, Yokozuna is another guy who, for his size, that massive girth, he can move really well. He just jumping back in the ring at one point. I was like, God dang! I was like, all right, you move faster than me, brother. But this was a physical Hollywood match. they treated the Undertaker like he was unbeatable, indestructible. He got Yokozuna at one point, got Yokozuna in trouble where it looked like Yoko was just wanting to take a nap. He was like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to rest here in the casket, and all of a sudden, you saw, right? He looked like he fell asleep at one point. I was like, good for you, Yoko. Just go to bed, brother. Take your time. They got it from here. And my goodness, if you thought WrestleMania 41 main event was overbooked, and, this was crazy. You had Crush, you had Kabuki, you had Bam Bam Bigelow, Adam Bomb, Jeff Jarrett, the Head Shrinkers. How the hell did Diesel get involved? I have no clue, but Diesel ended up in there. I didn't even remember when he came out, but they had everybody and their mother show up and go after the Undertaker. And who punched Paul Bearer? Somebody punched Bearer, took the urn, then green smoke coming out of the urn. They beat the Undertaker with it. They do their finishers on him. They roll him out. They close the casket. They survive. And as they push him down the ramp, and which was such, back then, now it'd be like, but back then it was like, they show a video inside the casket and the Undertaker is laying there and he does this whole, cuts a promo. And like, if you're watching it then, like and again, I watch it like if I was watching it then, it was cool. It was kind of like, I will not rest in peace, and they're like, oh, and he dies again. And all of a sudden they go, what? I was like, you see the flashes. And then all of a sudden you see this body double coming out. It's the Undertaker. He's floating. I've never seen anything like this before, man. Oh my goodness. Oh, the Undertaker. And there's Yoko. Oh God, and man, just a crazy thing where you kind of figured where the Undertaker character was going, where this version of WWF was going. Practical effects, and you got to take it for that. Cool way to finish, kind of like this new version of the Undertaker's coming. This one is dead. New one, I will not rest in peace. Man, it was just overbooked, but I will say this: it was fun. It was fun getting to see all these different kind of characters come on out, and seeing how they were how they were building this Undertaker character up, and now he's taking this next step, and then just the wrap up, they kind of go introduce that new version of the Undertaker that was eventually going to show up for WrestleMania. I don't know. I think he wrestled WrestleMania 10. Trying to remember who he did, but anyway, either way, what did you think of this match, man? We'll get into it. I know you have a lot to say on it. It's when I saw the ending, I thought of you right away. I was like, oh, I can't wait to hear his thoughts on that finish. But yeah, the floor is yours, brother.
So to be fair to our viewers and listeners and future viewers, I'm not taking shots at nobody, and this is including people in the chat currently, Maria. This is about all current day wrestling, what I'm about to say. And I'm just going to read off my bullet points because I took down bullet points as the matches were happening. Okay. All right. So Undertaker video package promo. I wrote, I understand it's 1994. This was long. This is not good. This is bad. Then I wrote, Jim Cornette's on TV. What a delight. Let's go. He's mad about the casket match being added in the fine print of the match. Like, that's a good point. Like, why would Yokozuna ever agree to this? That's what Jim Cornette adds to programming. I enjoyed it. And then we get our introductions. I said, oh, Vince and Ted DiBiase are back. Can someone explain? I thought we had the A crew. I thought we were going to have Jim Ross the rest of the way. Like, I was super excited. We didn't. And I wrote, oh, Taker lands a clean headshot. Oh, yeah, casket match. I hope Yoko's okay. Yoko gets salt, throws it in his face, and into the audience as well. Dude in the white shirt was happy. He thought he was in the splash zone. You remember that guy? The dude that always stood up?
Yeah,
That guy was having the time of his life.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the match was hot. People were into it. I said, okay, a lot of stuff happens. Taker eventually gets Yoko into the casket. No name jobbers come in to interfere. Taker beats up all the jobbers. Bam Bam shows up, assuming they're a part of some jobber stable. 4 more jobbers come out and Bam Bam and start beating up Taker while Yoko is still in the casket and has not moved. Paul Bearer beats up Mr. Fuji, then uses his power of the urn to give Undertaker powers. What in the AEW am I watching? Jeff Jarrett now comes out. Everybody's out there. And then I wrote a cuss word. At this point, F you, Jim Cornette, for ever criticizing today's wrestling for being involved in such nonsense that you critique on a daily basis. Yoko then takes the urn and opens it up, and green smoke shoots everywhere. It doesn't end. It feels like we're in a nightclub with green smoke everywhere. It never ended. The Don Callis, the stable of jobbers now beat up Taker forever. Yoko finally wins the match. What in the AEW was this? What? That was honestly, I couldn't believe how bad it was because I wanted to see goodness. I really did. I didn't like how it took 20 men to beat Taker. I didn't like that. I didn't like that because I didn't understand Jim Cornette's a manager. I understand that. Mr. Fuji, I understand back in the day they manage other people, but that many? And to anyone, and again, Jim Cornette's attached, and I listen to his podcast literally every week, and he says he would never, ever, ever stand for today's wrestling, never be involved with it. He'd be embarrassed. He was just involved in this. Did he forget? I want to write him. I don't know, Bobby. I don't know, man. The end. Okay, I will say this: the aftermath, the floating, that was cool. I enjoyed that. That's cool. I don't know why. Just only certain wrestlers can do that for me to buy it. Taker can do it. He's earned it. He's lived the gimmick. It's not like he just tried this gimmick and go, okay, I'm going to go be Mark Calloway. He was the Undertaker for X amount of years, 30 years, whatever it was. This was his gimmick. And he lived it. And that's why it worked. But other than that, man, I didn't have fun with this match. I did not have fun in this match at all. I thought this is why Tony Khan books the way he does. That's all I thought about. This is why Tony books the way he does. Because why is anyone criticizing this? Why, this is almost the exact same as what we see on Wednesday nights and sometimes on Friday and Monday nights. This was awful. This was bad. Am I wrong? I know you had fun and this is you like it. I get it. But isn't this what we see in current day and get made fun of all the time by the person that is in it? That's what makes me so mad about it, Bobby. The person that's in it. Oh, it makes me so upset.
I'm just going to say, I think here DSG has a point. Back then it was not commonplace. And back then they're trying to build up the Undertaker who, Yoko himself should be like, oh, I could take the Undertaker on. Who's he? But even Yoko's playing scared and you're like, you can't beat the Undertaker. He's the dead man. They're starting to build him up. It makes sense to, in bits and pieces. It makes sense to have this happen where, no, let's get everybody. Come on, take this guy out. He's a dead man. He's not real. This ain't some real human. It's not a living guy. This is a dead man. You can't beat him. We can't beat him. We need help. Bring it out. So I understand. Yes. In today's age, it's every other time you're doing this. Here it makes sense because it is the Undertaker, at least for me. And that's why it was fun. And it was like, oh, wait, who's the next guy? Who the hell is this guy? Who's that guy? That's Jeff Jarrett. Look at Jeff Jarrett's silly ass hairdo. Look at oh my gosh. So I get your point, but at the same time, I think DSG's on the money. For that time frame, it wasn't. For that time, it was like, holy crap, they can't get him. They have to have all these guys come out and try to beat him up. So it was something different. Moving on to the main event.
I gotta say, I forgot to say this line. I forgot to say this line, guys. Before he levitated, the Undertaker was shown in the casket, like you said, opens his eyes, and I wrote, says a bunch of stuff that sounds like Jon Moxley trying to cut a promo. It's true. He said there will be a rebirth of the Undertaker. He claims he will not rest in peace. Then they showed his outline on the screen, and I wrote, he evolved like a Pokemon and then rose from the Titantron. That's exactly what happened. He evolved, and that's when I started to enjoy it. I think I was like, you know what? It's almost over. Let me just enjoy this part. Then it cuts straight into a promo package with a bunch of wrestlers saying they're going to win the Royal Rumble. And then we get into the Rumble.
And into the Royal Rumble, 94. So, McMahon says it kind of goes over the match, what's going to happen, 90 seconds per guy. The first two guys we have, I
got the whole list.
Dude, I think everybody. Samu, right? Samu, nope. And Scott Steiner's.
Yep. Number one was Scott Steiner. Number two was Samu, head shrinker.
Okay. Okay.
They
So
wrestled
sorry,
for a little bit.
flipped it. Yep.
Yep.
And then Rick Steiner comes out
Yep.
for number 3. Again, it was really cool seeing, again, for me, I'll just say for the Rumble, because we could probably go list by list, but just watching like these old guys come out, the guys that were kind of going away, guys that were like you, and you're kind of like, wait, I know who that guy is, what he'll be. You'll see him later on. I think Fatu comes out. I think he's a part of the Final Four. That ends up being Rikishi. I'm pretty sure that's Rikishi eventually. So he's a part of that Final Four, which is really cool to see. You get to see, Bam Bam come back out. Randy Savage before he goes to WCW. He's a legend. If one of the greatest of all time. Here comes Randy Savage. Really cool. Was it seeing Rick Steiner come out? He gets sprayed in the face by a random guy trying to remember his name. That was funny. Diesel, man, they made him look like $1 million. I mean, they really were selling him to the farm. He eliminated, I don't know how many people. 7 total guys. And I mean, and they were like not even like impressive eliminations. It was like, get the hell out of here. You're out. Oh, here comes it. Bob. First off, Bob Backlund, one of the most, and again, I'm saying this with respect because I know he's a legend in the wrestling business. He's old school to a T. But and again, one of the most vanilla guys you could see when he comes out. No special attire. No, he's just a wrestler. That's it. He's a wrestler. He's not a sports entertainer. He's not, whatever. He's a wrestler, former world champion. They sell it. Oh, here comes Bob Backlund, the former world champion. And what does Backlund do? You start going, what the hell is he? He's like a dog. He's crawling. He's trying to grab. Then you realize, oh, he's trying to grab a leg. Oh, he's and you go, dude, that's why he was one of the smartest guys. As you think of a character, I mean, and he's built like an ox too. He's in shape, but like at first when he came in the ring, he starts crawling towards, and you see Nash going, what the backing up. I started laughing. I'm like, wait, get silly as hell. And then I said, oh no, he's going for he. And
he picked him up. Yeah, he could have thrown him out.
He could have thrown him out, dude. That dude, he's a beast. Like if you watch, like that dude could have lifted Nash up and tossed him. That was fun for me getting to see things like that. Again, seeing Randy Savage, you see Shawn Michaels come out. Shawn Michaels is about to, he already portrayed Marty Jannetty. They had an awesome spot that felt real for that type of wrestling back in the day when Jannetty came out, and the haymakers they were throwing at each other felt real. It's like, damn, who else? When Bret Hart, and one thing that was really cool, that was interesting to me, you don't hear the music. You never heard the music when they were coming out. It was just get in there, and the fans reacting. They were doing 10, 9, 8, 7, 7. The fans are doing the same thing. Who's the next guy? No music. Here he comes, and the fans still popped for every single one. For the one I was going, who the hell is that? They popped for every single one. You had Bart Gunn, you had Billy Gunn show up. You know who Billy Gunn becomes. You see Bob Holly there. You see Fatu, who's Rikishi. The bunch of guys that one day we grew up watching in different characters. When Shawn Michaels was supposed to, Bret Hart was supposed to come out, never did. And then here it comes out, I think at number 27 or 28, 27 comes out, and he's limping. He's selling the leg, no, it's Bret Hart. Here he comes. I'm like, you selfish motherfucker. I said, there it is. You could have kept your ass in the back. You didn't come out at 25, or here it comes 27. You selfish prick. Now, but here it comes. And again, sells the leg really well. You can't deny him, dude. He's selling the shit out, and the guys are going for it. They're attacking the leg. I really enjoyed it. I like what they sold with Kevin Nash. You could tell they were really trying to push Diesel. Here comes Luger. Luger shows up. Looks like $1 million. Sure, for people care for that. They were trying to push him. He's supposed to be the next Hulk Hogan, which no one ever would have been at that time. And you had the Final Four: Bret Hart, Luger, Michaels, which tells you too, like you see Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. You had Fatu as well. Fatu, which was Rikishi. Those were your Final Four. But I'm looking at that ring, and I'm seeing these Final Four laying down, and they're out, and they're like, they don't even know. These are the guys that are going to lead you to that next era. Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, the future of your company at that point in time. And you saw where WWE was kind of turning the curve. They were going that other way. They weren't going for the giant built like a rock guys. Excuse me. They were going for slimmer, more athletic individuals. And it was kind of cool to see. It was really cool to see. We'll get into the finish, but very quick before we get to that finish, man, what did you think of the match and what, the characters and how it kind of played out?
Couple notes, and then we'll get to the finish. Love the Diesel spot. Wish it would have been a little bit longer, but it was fun for what it was. Just knocking people out one by one at some point during the match. I think he knocked out Quang, Bart Gunn, Bob Backlund, Billy Gunn, Virgil, Scott Steiner. The only one I didn't agree with, which would be heavily criticized today, and it didn't hurt Owen at all. Owen came in there early at 5 after just turning heel on one of the biggest stars in the company and just was dumped out of the ring in 4 minutes in the Rumble match. That's kind of ridiculous to kill a character, don't you think? He didn't get killed, thankfully, his character-wise, so he did do great things after that, but kind of silly booking there. They should have just left him out of the Rumble match and all, or made him a main player with Brett and letting Brett maybe get some kind. I don't know, but getting eliminated early, you just turned heel. That was silly. Did you even mention that, or did you realize that, Bobby, or am I just overcritical?
Are you talking about Owen Hart?
Yeah.
No, I did. I thought it was wrong. That was a critique of mine. I mean, I think it would have been better if Owen would have came in later and maybe had like a little bit of a run. Obviously, we're playing Booker at this point, but had a run after what happened with his brother. And here it comes. And Bret Hart doesn't show up, right? And Owen and keeps doing it. And all of a sudden, here's the next 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here comes Bret limping down to the ring. And now he's going to confront his brother, and maybe he's the one, or maybe he doesn't try to fight his brother, but maybe, him and his brother kind of steer each other. His brother's attacking him, and somebody attacks Brian and throws Owen Hart out of the ring. I didn't like that it was Diesel who got Owen. I think Diesel was the one who eliminated Owen Hart.
Yep.
It was way too early. It should have been Bret Hart, or it should have waited for Bret Hart to show up. I think that would have been better.
It's like Shawn Michaels.
Sorry. Right now, DSG sending us Bo Nix just scored. So there you go.
Nice.
But go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, it could have been someone like Shawn Michaels who's involved in that little storyline, or could have been, it could have been anybody. But the way they handled that was kind of silly. But it is what it is. It's funny to see all these names that mean nothing. Like, how many names are we going to see in a couple weeks in 2026 in the Royal Rumble match? And like, oh yeah, remember that guy? Remember that guy? Like, who's great Kabuki? To me, who's generic Chiro Tenryu, like, it's just funny to see who, to me, sorry, if I'm wrong on this and you guys think I'm an idiot, who's Adam Bomb? I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. Who did he turn into?
Wrath, right? He was
again, though. You know what I mean? That's my point.
Yeah, I got your point.
Yeah.
I got your point. Yeah.
Number 30, though. They saved him for 30.
They said it too. But I think my man said when Adam Bomb came out, he goes, "Oh, I think he's gonna be the favorite to win the Rumble." You're like, "Are you sure about that, bro?" But again, remember back then, who knows? But obviously, the guy was in amazing shape. The guy had a great look. I mean, I didn't like his attire, but he had a great look. But yeah, it's like, a lot of those guys are like, "Who the hell is that?" Now it's about star power. Now we're all expecting like Jericho and Saudi or whatever, to pop up. But go ahead.
Yeah. So other than that, just the generic wrestlers that came in, like, I believe there was I don't know his name. I wish I would have got it, but the dude, it could have been maybe Mo, the black dude with the bodysuit, not Mabel though, not Viscera.
Mabel's tag team partner.
Yeah. He was good. He was good. He was a good worker. There was at one point where Lex Luger legitimately potatoed him in the face, and like a professional, he just got up and continued the match. He was good, but again, a no-namer, like someone, if you put him someone, I'm only mentioning this because current day, someone of Pretty Deadly, like one of those guys. Who is that guy? In 10 years from now, you're going to go, who was that guy? Oh, he was in a tag team with who? It's just funny to see because every Rumble has that. But other than that, let's get to the finish, man. Let's get to the finish because what a mess. I forgot this was the one. Like, I forgot. I'm sure everyone else on the stream knows. I'm sure you knew. I forgot that was the finish. What a mess. Just think about sending the crowd home flat like that. Like, that was a flat finish. You made the fans sit there after all of that just for the silence. Because just think about the people, the 14,000 people in the crowd. You had not Finkel. You had excuse me, I can't think of his name. You mentioned the referee, Earl.
Yeah.
Earl and the other dude. Oh no, he won. And like, yes, the pay-per-view viewer seeing this, but if you're in the crowd, you're like, for 10 minutes straight. What's going on? Like, maybe they were trying to get and maybe this has already been talked about. And I just I'm not known about it. I don't know about it. Were they trying to push the envelope or get people talking about them? Because that was the most flat finish you could possibly have. And I think the fans were upset. I think they were booing at one point, not booing the winner, booing this is BS. This sucks. How'd you think about the finish?
So the finish was, again, the final four: Bret Hart, Luger, Shawn Michaels, Fatu. Michaels, Fatu eliminated on a cool spot. I think that was a cool spot where they both kind of threw them to each other and they ducked, and Michaels went over Luger, Fatu went over Bret Hart. And so now you have these final two guys in the ring. The finish was Bret and Luger both going over the top at the same time. If you don't recall, for those who are current, think about John Cena, Batista. Similar type of situation, both go over. Whether that was on purpose or not, this was apparently. And they did good. It was a clean fall. It looked, you could tell both feet were coming down. The guys couldn't do it any better. Bret Hart probably was the one who led that way. I think Luger even said that back in the day, that it was Bret Hart who kind of took care of him. I hated the finish. I hated the way they ended the show. I understood the whole point of, no, wait, it was Luger. No, it was Bret. First off, where were the referees? You're on the other side of the ring. If I'm McMahon, I'm pissed. You're supposed to be on the other side. So you guys said, why are you arguing? You didn't see it. What it should have been, when Jack Tenay came out, instead of, first they said Lex Luger, and you hear the music, then, then whatever the USA music comes out, and then nope, it's Bret Hart. And it was not the classic Bret Hart. It was the original song. And, they're going, oh my God, the crowd doesn't know what's going on. You're waiting. Okay, here comes Jack Tenay. Now we're getting some clarity here. This is what Jack Tenay should have done. This is what Vince McMahon should have said for him to do. Go in the ring, restart it. We're going to go corner. You go in the corner. You guys get out of the ring. We're going to restart this. Whoever comes out first out of the ring goes. That's how it should have played out. They didn't do that. They go, the co-winners of the Rumble is Bret Hart and Luger. And, Bret Hart's like, what the, and they shake hands, and, you kind of leave the crowd, leave the pay-per-view going, okay, is it going to be a triple threat? Which we know it won't be. I think they figured out the next night on Raw or something. I don't know. Obviously, Bret Hart was the ascending star. He was hard to hide. You couldn't ignore him. They were starting to. Lex Luger was the guy that they were pushing. He was that Roman Reigns. He was the guy that fans, even though fans back then were cool with it, they weren't really catching on him. They were catching on the Bret. They were catching on the Shawn. Yep. Lex Luger, and he was fun. Luger was not. He was not a great wrestler, but he was all right, and he had the look, and he had the how do you call that? He had the vibe, or whatever. He could
charisma.
The charisma. Thank you. He had that. But he was what Roman Reigns was. They were pushing him when nobody really wanted him at that point. And so they had to do this to see how the crowd would react. I think eventually they put the title on, but even win, just to see how he reacted with the belt for a couple house shows, and it didn't work. And I don't think they ever did put the belt on him. I don't remember I don't think he ever won the WWF title. It ended up going to Bret. So no, I hated the finish. I wish they would have just reran it and maybe, have Bret eliminate him, or have Luger eliminate him, Bret, and go from there. But it was a classic Royal Rumble match. It was really cool to see a lot of these classic guys. I did think the finish before those two guys with Shawn and Fatu, Shawn Michaels Fatu, was really cool. And I liked the clash. I just wish it had a definitive end where maybe Bret with the ailing knee gets the elimination over the rising Luger, and oh my gosh, Bret's going to be the guy. Or if you want Luger to win and you don't want him to win clean, how about Owen comes back out and pulls Bret out of the ring? And you had that, so yeah, I'm with you. I was not happy. I think you could have gone three different kind of ways, but they went this route. And again, it will go down as one of the most controversial finishes in Royal Rumble history, but it is one of the most classic Royal Rumbles. And I'll be honest with you, I was familiar with this ending, but I wasn't familiar with Tenay, that part there. That's one where I was kind of wondering, like, oh, is he going to go ahead and say restart it? No, he's like, we're just going to go ahead and say both guys won. Hey, Tenay, with all due respect, and I'm sure rest in peace now, but character Tenay. I'll say character Tenay, not the real Tenay. Hey, are you a dumbass? What do you mean? You can't have two winners. It's one guy, bro. It's the main event of WrestleMania. Finish the match.
Again,
how hard could this be?
This is why Tony books the diamond ring like this. Two winners. Again, This might have been Tony's peak like favorite pay-per-view of all time. But I want to say thank you to everybody for watching. If you like this series, make sure you let us know. Drop a like, subscribe. Let us know for all the after live video viewers what pay-per-view or PLE you want us to review. We're gonna try to do these monthly. As wrestling PLEs have a monthly show, we would like to review an old, not always pay-per-views, sometimes matches. So if you have a certain match you want us to watch, and we'll talk about it, let us know in the comments below. We really appreciate everybody watching the Fins Talk Sports Network. We will be live next week, like we are every single Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Do the math if you're Central or Pacific. I don't feel like doing it. But that being said, Bobby, this has been a fun show. I appreciate all the engagement in the chat below. And again, what was your favorite match of this card? What did you not like about the 1994 Royal Rumble? And what do you want us to cover in February? Because we will be watching your comments. Bobby, anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
No, man. I appreciate this was fun. I really enjoyed this. We have a lot of good ideas coming up too with what shows or matches that we'd like to kind of carry over. But yeah, guys, if you could think of anything, a match, old school match, anything, let us know. When we'll put it on the docket, we'll do it and we'll review it here. We'll just dedicate a show to this. I really did enjoy this. Whether you did or not, we'll continue this because I really did enjoy doing this. If you want more wrestling talk on FTSN, go check out FTSN Extra with Josh and El Ginger Americano and Clutch on Thursday nights. They kind of recap everything. Of course, we will touch on stuff like that as well, but here we're going to do more like this. I really do enjoy doing this with Josh because we're old school guys, but we'll also have a taste of new school as well. So DSG, Maria, appreciate you guys commenting. Everyone else, wherever you're watching from, do me a favor, come on over to YouTube, hit that like button to subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channel yet. Notification bells when we are live again. If you're a Dolphins fan, make sure you're subscribing because we got a lot of Dolphins content and NFL and draft, NBA fantasy sports, fantasy football with Josh and the crew at Fantasy Now Plus, baseball on deck. Got a lot of stuff going on there. It's free agency and the season's around the corner. I will get my ring. I did win the Pick'em League in Fins TV Pick'em. I'm waiting for my ring, and I will be wearing that all the time. I will wear it so much so that people will be sick of me because, brother, diamonds are forever, and so am I. So like and subscribe, brother, and we will see you guys next Saturday. Appreciate you all.